In this video, we talk about specifically on the 5070 NVIDIA graphics card, and I have some really spicy information to share with you. Now, on NVIDIA website, they call it the 5070 family because, well, this is actually, there are two cards in this series, the 5070 and the 5070 Ti, with the 5070 sold starting from $549. Now, the 5070 and 5070 Ti, there are the cheapest cards in the series, and this will be on the list for many gamers, especially those on a budget or searching for very high performing new graphics card to upgrade or to buy a new one, rather than investing in the more expensive one, the 5080 and the 5090. And the big question is, it's all over the place, whether the 5070 can really be as fast as the 4090. And all that just for $549. This is a kind of screenshot from The Verge. You can actually see their 4090 performance mentioned with the RTX 5070 in the launch event. Now, this is a very interesting part of an article from PC Gamer, and I really want you to pay attention to that. I'm just going to quote here. This is hardly a surprising move. NVIDIA has been calling time on resto graphics rendering for years. It's also mentioned again that the CEO himself, Hong, memorably saying back in September 2024, and it's a quote, "We can't do computer graphics anymore without artificial intelligence. We compute one pixel, we infer the other 32. I mean, it's incredible." End of quote. Yeah, I mean, just listen to that. I mean, the CEO says this is the future, basically. To be clear though, the name of DLSS for games is mostly impressively frame generation. This is actually, I'm just saying here, this is what really gives the huge boost in terms of frame rate, and increases, of course, the frame rate in games significantly compared to other technologies. Now, continue with the article. With regards to the RTX 5070, DLSS 4 uses AI and in-game data to generate up to 3 full frames between more traditionally rendered frames. To put it a little crudely, DLSS 4 is what's giving you the extra bang for your buck. So this is like the main thing. This is what actually makes the performance numbers and what you see in the charts so impressive. They also mentioned at CES 2025, NVIDIA set up 2 machines for trade show guests to compare. One kitted out with a 5070 in multi-frame generation, and one using the older RTX 4090 with standard frame generation. Beside that major difference, both machines were running Marvel Rivals at 4K with the highest amount of DLSS support by the respective graphic cards, and the results. Hardridge writes that the RTX 5070 consistently outperformed the older card, outputting in the region of 240 FPS compared to the 4090's average 180 FPS. Now, there are some complementary technologies like, for example, Reflex 2, because there are issues that frame generation brings with it. So they need to solve those issues, especially now with the new technologies, with the DLSS 4 and Reflex 2. So Reflex 2 reduces latency. I think from what I've read, it uses AI to predict the movement. So instead of you just watching the extra frames like a pre-recorded video and there's no responsiveness in that, basically it predicts the movement. And then again, it's not perfect, but it allows you to actually have more responsiveness with this technology that generates frames. This also includes the Reflex Frame Wrap technology. And I just quote, Reflex Frame Wrap improves responsiveness by updating the game frames based on the latest mouse input just before it is sent to the display. Now, of course, this is very important, especially for competitive games. Other things related to visual artifacts, for example, smearing, and when it comes to having the generated frames producing more reliable results. I've seen Digital Foundry demonstrating this on Cyberpunk 2077. It seemed that it significantly had been improved. So basically, you can't really tell between what is a fake frame and what is a real frame. So the aspect of image quality is significantly improved. Now, this is just laying this down. Now we're going to talk about the 5070. So first, important to note that the 5070, of course, part of the 50 series, supports DLSS 4, whether all the graphic cards in the 40 series don't support DLSS 4. There are some enhancements across the board, but again, when it comes to DLSS 4, you need a 50 series graphics card. So even if you bought the cheapest one, you can still enjoy these improved technologies. Now, one of the main things that mentioned all over the place is people want to know, about these numbers. Is the 5070 really that powerful that can outperform the 4090 just for 549? And this is from PC Game. This is at the end of the article, and it says, how replicable those numbers are, but the older card doesn't support the DLSS 4's multi-frame gen. So one could quibble about how valuable a comparison this truly is. So when we talk about performance, we talk about raw power, right? Because again, here when you see the, for example, the charts and everything that NVIDIA actually demonstrate and they showcase the bars and the differences, basically this is not a comparison of sheer raw power of the graphics card rather than the card using all these available technologies in order to produce that performance. Now, NVIDIA is not hiding this information. If you look at the performance here chart with the 5070 versus the 4070, it says DLSS, but I mean, you can see the differences in terms of performance, right? Relative performance. But if you look at the bottom in the small letters, you can see that it says that a frame generation FG on the 40 series, multi-frame generation 4X mode on the 50 series. And also it says a plug-tail Requiem only supports DLSS 3. So yeah, it's very revealing. It just uses a frame generation technology, a multi-frame generation that can basically inject more frames and therefore leads to part of it to a much significant performance result that you see in the chart. So some would say, well, all right, it's not revealing a lot because I want to know the difference in terms of raw performance. So we need to look at the specs of the cards in order to try to evaluate that. Before, again, the cards haven't been released as of the time of making this video. So NVIDIA conveniently put out an option to compare the graphics card. So if I put the 4090 and compare it to the 4070 right beside it, you can see, of course, the differences. First of all, you can see that the architecture is different. It uses Blackwell. So first of all, regarding Blackwell, just by transitioning to the 50 series, you're already enjoying several benefits. So you can see Blackwell brings AI to shaders, and I'm going to quote here RTX neural shaders, which brings small AI networks into programmable shaders, unlocking field quality materials, lighting, and more in real-time games. There's also RTX neural faces that takes a simple rasterized face and 3D pose data as input and uses generative AI to render temporal, stable, high-quality digital face in real time. It also says RTX neural faces is complemented by the new RTX technologies for ray-traced hair and skin. They also mention along with the new RTX Mega Geometry, which enables up to 100 times more ray-traced triangles in a scene. These advancements are poised to deliver a massive leap in realism for game characters and environments. This is also from NVIDIA.com. As you can see, RTX series 50 series GPUs are the first consumer GPUs to support FP4 precision, boosting AI image generation performance for models such as Flux by 2 times and enabling generative AI models to run locally in a smaller memory footprint compared with previous generation hardware. All right, next I already mentioned that, but the RTX 5070 supports DLSS 4, whether any card in the 40 series, including the 4090, only support DLSS 3. So among the significant changes is the use of a new vision transformer-based model for upscaling with advancements in frame generation, further enhanced image quality with reduced ghosting and greater image stability in motion, improved frame generation with potentially higher accuracy and less artifacts. It's also expected to be further refined, potentially with more efficient and accurate ray tracing. But again, it requires the RTX 50 series. It doesn't work with the 40 series. Yeah, so a bit more about that. DLSS 4 introduces the graphics industry's first real-time application of the transformer model architecture. Transformer-based DLSS array reconstruction and super resolution models use 2 times more parameters and 4 times more compute to provide greater stability, reduce ghosting, higher details, and enhanced anti-aliasing in game scenes. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is AI tops here. You can see that there is a difference here with the 4090 having more AI tops. Now, what the AI top is, basically refers to AI tera operations per second. It's a measure of a card's raw computational power specifically for artificial intelligence tasks. So, well, why is it important? Well, first of all, NVIDIA GPUs are widely used for AI workloads due to their parallel processing capabilities. AI TOPS is a key metric because it's directly related to, first, the AI performance. Higher AI TOPS generally means faster processing of AI algorithms, leading to quicker training of AI models and faster inference. Second, features like DLSS, deep learning supersampling. This relies heavily on AI processing, so higher AI TOPS enables more advanced and efficient AI powered features, and also things related to generative AI with the rise of generative AI models like large language models, LLMs, and image generation models, which has further increased the importance of AI TOPS as these models require massive amount of computation. But it's important to know this is not the only thing that is important. I mean, it is important, this metric is important to determine the overall AI performance. However, factors like memory bandwidth, memory capacity, and software optimization, and others also play significant roles. All right, so this is higher on the 4090. The other thing is regarding Tensor cores. You can see 5th generation on the 5070 compared to the 4th generation on the 4090. So based on what I checked, of course, there are significant differences. And the first thing is that the first generation Tensor cores in the RTX 50 series represent basically a significant leap compared to the previous generation. This includes architectural improvements, like fundamental changes to the Tensor cores, making them more efficient and powerful. This includes advancement in data path, memory access, and overall design. There's also enhanced AI performance with these new Tensor cores deliver a substantial increase in AI TOPS. Again, in general, of course, we just mentioned that, but there's capability to increase the AI TOPS in general in the 50 series graphics card, which translates to a faster AI processing, which is crucial, of course, for features like DLSS and other AI-driven workloads. For example, the RTX 5090 boasts 3,352 AI TOPS compared to the RTX 4090s, which again, both of them are at the top of their series, which only boasts 1,321 AI TOPS. You can see it here. And other things related, of course, to in general to the Blackwell architecture, which is likely supports also for new data types and improved precision for existing ones, allowing basically for more efficient processing of various AI algorithms. This could include enhancement for FP8, 8-bit floating point, and other low precision formats. It's also optimized for transformers, specifically designed to accelerate transformer models, which are the foundation of many modern AI applications, including large language models, LLMs. This optimization leads to significant performance gains in tasks like natural language processing and image generation. There's also the integration with DLSS 4, with 5th generation Tensor cores are tightly integrated with DLSS 4, enabling the new vision transformer base upscaling and improved frame generation. This synergy results in higher image quality and performance compared to DLSS 3 and DLSS 3.5. So in general, again, when we talk about the 5th generation Tensor cores, they provide higher raw AI performance, with more AI TOPS for faster processing. We can see definitely with between the top tier of the graphics cards in the series. Improved efficiency for better performance per watt. Support for advanced AI models, which are optimized for transformers in other modern AI architectures. And enhanced DLSS capabilities, enabling DLSS 4's improved image quality and performance. Now, the next thing is NVIDIA Encoder. You can see there's one 9th generation compared to 2 of the 8th generation on the 4090. You can see more as you go up in the series with the more expensive one. So based on what I've read about it, kind of roughly, we are talking about between the generation, yes, with improved encoding quality. With the 9th generation, NVENC offers I think 5% improvement from what I've read in video quality for both HVAC and AV1 encoding, specifically at lower bit rates. This means you can achieve similar visual fidelity with smaller file sizes or get even better quality at the same file size compared to the 8th gen encoder. The new AV1 ultra quality mode, which give you 5% more compression at the same quality level compared to the standard AV1 encoding mode, enhanced multi-stream encoding, improved decoding capabilities, performance boost, and so on. So there are some significant significant improvement there with the 9th generation. So in general, better image quality at the same bitrate, more efficient compression with the new AV1 ultra quality mode, increased encoding throughput with multiple encoders on higher end models, improved decoding capabilities for 42 support, overall performance gains in encoding speed. So yeah, we should see improvement there in encoding as well. Now regarding decoding, regarding decoding, to put it simply, wide support, format support for greater compatibility, increased decoding performance for smoother playback, enhanced coder fidelity with improved 42 support, higher decoding throughput with multiple encoders. So again, we're going to see improvement regarding decoders as well with the next gen. Now regarding memory configuration, I think this is the thing that people talk about most because you can see here that the 4090 has 24 gigabytes of GDDR6X RAM, whether the 5070 has only 12 gigabytes of GDDR7. All right, so let's break it down. First of all, regarding the 5070, GDDR7 is faster. It offers significantly higher bandwidth per pin compared to GDDR6X. This means that data can be transferred to and from the GPU's memory much faster. Potentially more efficient, of course. It's got to be more power efficient than GDDR6X, which could lead to lower power consumption and heat generation. And from other end, also lower costs. So using less memory can contribute to a lower overall cost for the graphics card. The cons is, well, lower capacity. 12 gigabytes of VRAM is less than the 24 gigabytes, half than that, which offered by the 4090. This could become a limiting factor in very demanding games at high resolutions like 4K and beyond, with high resolution textures, especially as games become more graphically intensive. So people already mentioned some games that already kind of, get to a point where games are really needing more juice. They say at least 60 gigabytes is something that we need. So going with 12 gigabytes, even with some optimizations with this card, might kind of be just not enough for certain games. This is just from Cursor, so mentioned then. We recommend installing graphics card with at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM for 1080p resolution. For 1440p resolution, you need at least 12 gigabytes, and for 4K resolution, you need at least 16 gigabytes. Now, I want to further elaborate on that because this is crucial. Now, keep in mind, this is very important. I actually checked TechSpot, for example, measuring VRAM usage. This is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And you can see 1080p, and you can see with the different settings. And you can see you reach with DLSS frame gen, high ray tracing, very high, already passing the 12 gigabytes. In 1080p, and if you go to 40p, you can see that if you go to the high ray tracing, very high DLSS frame generation, you're going to go to 30, and you can see that why they mentioned like the bare minimum, it's recommended to have 12 to cover again if you want to play on high graphic settings and some other frame generation and ray tracing. You can see that Cyberpunk 2077, you can see that with 1080p, if you want to go all the way with DLSS frame generation and ray tracing on Ultra, you need 12.3 gigabytes. If you go to 4040p, you can see that on Medium, without ray tracing and DLSS frame gen, you need 7.6. But if you want to really enjoy this is why the safe is 60 gigabytes. But you can see already here, if you go into 4K, with racing and ultra, you want to enjoy all the best of the best, you're going to touch on 60.4 gigabytes. This is why the 4070 is so good, because again, it just cover way beyond the recommended one. Now, of course, we need to take other thing into consideration, DLSS 4. There are technologies, of course, that can reduce the VRAM requirements to make it better use for the available memory. DLSS 4 with frame generation is one of them. Probably the most significant factor, because by generating entirely new frames using AI, DLSS 4 reduces the need to render as many frames natively. This can significantly reduces the memory footprint required to store textures and other frame data. Other thing might be related to advanced texture compression, with the Blackwell architecture might include advancement in texture compression techniques. More efficient compression algorithms could allow the GPU to store textures in a smaller memory footprint without significant loss in visual quality. Maybe things we get into improved in memory management, with the memory controller and management within the GPU could be more efficient. In the 50 series, this means the GPU can better prioritize and manage memory allocation, potentially reducing the overall VRAM needed. Other thing, maybe shader execution reordering, while not directly related to VRAM capacity. This can improve performance by optimizing the order in which shaders are executed. This can indirectly reduce memory bandwidth requirements and improve overall efficiency. So there is a potential for reducing the requirement. Even then, you want to go on the safe side. Who knows what game's going to come next, going to be more kind of future-proof with games that have higher demands. And of course, if you want to jump into 4K gaming, it just seems that it's not enough. And basically, this is one of the big caveats for me when I first look at the specs compared to, of course, to the 4090, which is double the RAM. We need to wait and see how actually the new technologies, especially DLSS 4 and the multi-frame generation, can help with that. And what about games that don't support it? Anyway, it seems like I'm not really on the safe side with it. This kind of made me worry getting the 5070 and just looking more forward into the higher ones, at least the 5070 Ti. But you can see that all across the board here, if you want to go beyond the 24 gigabytes, you need to go to the 5090, which has 32 gigabytes of GDDR7, which is, of course, very, very compelling. And this is probably the first thing that I want to see how when we play 4K games and demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077, how it actually works with the 5070 Ti in different settings and configurations. So yeah, keep eye on that. It will be interesting to see how these factors play out in real-world gaming scenarios once the RTX 50 series is released. So yeah, so this is kind of seems like a double-edged sword. I mean, kind of a paradox even when you look at the multi-frame generation. I mean, the technology boosts the number of display frame, but does actually improve system responsiveness, things related to input lag. To some degree, of course, there are some things that improve it, but again, there is a limitation here. So in fact, AI-driven frame generation process inherently introduces additional latency. Now, NVIDIA is trying to mitigate this issue with sophisticated prediction system. All right, let's look deep further. This is from GSM Arena comparison table. And you can clearly see here that in terms of raw performance, the gap between those are quite significant. The RTX 5070 offers 94 teraflops in ray tracing compared to the RTX 4090's 191 teraflops. I mean, without DLSS, the difference in raw power is clearly noticeable. So basically, a card that is less performing in terms of raw processing power, where you need to use these technologies probably to the max at certain points in order to benefit from higher frame rates, compared to a much more powerful card that don't require, it doesn't support, of course, the DLSS 4, but it's not required because it's already very powerful. Let alone we are talking about the difference between twice the amount of VRAM on the 4090 compared to the 5070. You can also see a hint regarding that when you look at the power, which is required for the 4090, which is 450 watt compared to 250 watt on the 5070. So yeah, this is a huge difference here. I mean, the 4090 is much more powerful card in terms of raw hardware. It's a significantly more Cuda Cores, higher memory bandwidth, and wider memory bus. All these factors contribute to its higher power consumption. If you look at the 5070, it has 6,144 Cuda Cores compared to 16,384. This is also a significant difference. This means it is more raw processing power with more Cuda Cores. I mean, it can perform many more calculations simultaneously, which translate to higher raw processing power of graphics rendering, physics simulation, and other computationally intensive tasks. Also, performance in demanding games, right? This is what it's for. In games that heavily rely on raw GPU power, the RTX 4090 will generally deliver significantly higher frame rates and smoother performance, especially at higher resolution and with demanding graphics settings, especially those who don't support DLSS. and well, performance for professional applications as well, for tasks like video editing, 3D rendering, scientific simulations. The 4090's higher CUDA cores count will result in faster processing times and improved performance. Yeah, and it's not free. You can see the differences in price as well. So we expect, of course, the 4090 drop in price. The introductory price for the 5070 is very low, $549. But now you know there's a reason for that. So yeah, so this is for this video. I hope I got things right. I'm not an expert in the field, but trying to fish out information, kind of aggregate them together to kind of get a better understanding of things. So overall, when I see it, I'm actually leaning towards the higher end of the graphics card. Actually, the 5090 looks so good, by the way. But again, probably something more towards the 4080 and above. And those of you probably looking at the 5070, maybe you should consider the 5070 Ti. Those experts among you, let us know in the comments section below your thoughts about that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Consider subscribing to my channel. Have a great day. Cheers.